What Mr Hunt said is that he plans to increase day-to-day public spending by 1% every year after 2024. Is that where you're going to be too?
Well, we haven't committed to the Conservative spending plans. I've just given you one example, that we would get rid of the non-dom tax status and use that money for our health service and breakfast clubs at schools. We've also said, Trevor, as you know, that the tax breaks that private schools get, no VAT, no business rates, those tax breaks would go and we would put that money into our state schools. So there's just a couple of examples of how we would inject more money into our public services straight away. But the key plank of our economic policy is to grow the economy, because these last 13 years...
Mr Hunt says that too.
Well, wait a second. But they haven't delivered it. But this is the difference, Trevor. This is the difference.
What you've given me are examples...
because this is very important.
I understand, but you're giving me examples where you would change things by a few billion a year. Public spending is what, running now 400 billion or something like that? These are small changes. What I'm asking you is, will you stick with the broad spending plans that Conservatives have set out or not?
Well, I've already given you a couple of examples. There's also the changes to private equity tax, the way that bonuses are treated for private equity managers. And we would put all of that money, into our public services. But the key difference between Labour's plans and the Conservatives' plans is that we have a serious plan to grow our economy. The economy these last 13 years has grown on average by 1.5% a year. When Labour was last in power, the economy grew on average by 2% a year. If the economy these last 13 years had grown at 2% a year, that'd be £150 billion more in our economy for public services, for lower taxes than what we have today. And so our reforms to the planning system, our modern industrial strategy, our national wealth fund to invest alongside businesses in the opportunities for growth in the future are all about securing that sustainable growth that enables you to keep taxes low and have money to invest in our public services.
But look, you're telling me all of the things that you'd like to see happen. I'm not quite hearing how it's going to happen and the scale of what needs to happen. Hunt says he's going to increase the real-term spending by 1%. But that in itself, and they've acknowledged this, involves serious cuts to public services. Now, if you don't want to inherit those cuts, you're going to be talking about quite significant increases in public spending. Is that what you're now telling me you want to do?
Well, we've got those short-term increases in non-dom tax and the private schools' business rates and VAT to inject money straight away in our public services. And then it's about growing the economy, Trevor. Then it's about growing the economy. So reforms to the pension system to get more money...
You're hoping for growth?
We've got plans for growth. And don't just take my word for it. Listen to what businesses say about Labour's plans. They endorsed many of the proposals we put forward at conference to bring back housing targets, to reform how we invest in nationally significant infrastructure, to reform the pension system to get more money into growing businesses, the modern industrial strategy working alongside business. If we do those things, we can grow the economy and have money for our public service.